Our story begins more than 5,000 years ago, before 3000 BC, in a world that looked very different from today. So, who were these early Cushitic-speaking peoples? Imagine groups of people, resilient and innovative, spreading across the vast landscapes of what we now know as Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, and parts of Sudan and Kenya. They weren't a single, unified empire, but a diverse collection of communities sharing a common linguistic ancestry. This family of languages, known as Cushitic, is part of the larger Afroasiatic language phylum, which also includes Semitic languages like Arabic and Hebrew, and even ancient Egyptian. This linguistic connection is our first major clue, telling us that these peoples were part of a much larger story of human migration and interaction across Africa and the Near East. The environment they entered was a challenging but rewarding one. The Horn of Africa is a land of dramatic contrasts. From the cool, rugged Ethiopian highlands to the hot, arid coastlines along the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. These early settlers were masters of adaptation. They developed a way of life that was perfectly tuned to their surroundings, pastoralism. They were among the continent's first herders. Cattle, sheep, and goats weren't just animals to them, they were their livelihood, their wealth, and a central part of their culture. Think about what it takes to be a successful pastoralist. You need an intimate knowledge of the land, where to find water during the dry season, which pastures are best for grazing, and how to predict the changing weather. These early Cushitic communities possessed this knowledge in abundance. They moved with their herds in seasonal cycles, a practice known as transhumance. Traveling from the lowlands in the cooler, wetter seasons to the highlands during the hotter, drier parts of the year. This mobile lifestyle meant their settlements weren't massive, permanent cities of stone. Instead, they would have lived in smaller, flexible communities, perhaps using transportable hide tents or building simple shelters of wood and earth. Archaeological evidence from this period is subtle but fascinating. We find ancient stone tools, pottery shards, and rock art that give us glimpses into their daily lives. The pottery, for example, shows a level of craftsmanship that suggests they weren't just surviving, they were building stable cultures. These pots were used for cooking, storing food, and perhaps most importantly, for holding water and milk, the staples of their diet. Some of the rock art found in the region depicts long-horned cattle, reinforcing just how central these animals were to their identity and spiritual beliefs. These weren't just pictures of animals, they were celebrations of the source of their prosperity. But they weren't just herders living in isolation. The Horn of Africa has always been a crossroads of the world. Its strategic location, bridging Africa with the Arabian Peninsula and the wider Indian Ocean world, made it a natural hub for trade. Even in this incredibly ancient period, before 3000 BC, the foundations of these trade networks were being laid. The early Cushitic peoples controlled valuable resources that were highly sought after by their neighbors. What were they trading? Think of things like incense, frankincense and myrrh, resins from trees that grew in the region. These aromatic substances were incredibly valuable in the ancient world. Used in religious rituals, perfumes, and medicines in places as far away as Egypt and Mesopotamia. They also likely traded obsidian, a type of volcanic glass that was perfect for making razor-sharp tools and weapons. Hides and leather from their herds, along with ivory and exotic animal skins, would have also been valuable commodities. In return, they might have received grains, textiles, or crafted goods from more settled agricultural societies. This trade wasn't just about exchanging goods, it was about exchanging ideas, technologies, and culture. It connected the pastoralists of the Horn to the burgeoning civilizations of the Nile Valley and the Fertile Crescent. One of the most famous and somewhat mysterious outcomes of this early interaction is the ancient realm known as the Land of Punt. Egyptian records, though from a slightly later period, speak of this legendary, faraway land, a source of incredible riches. The Egyptians mounted grand expeditions to Punt to acquire gold, ebony, exotic animals, and, of course, incense. For a long time, historians debated the exact location of Punt, but many now believe it was located in the coastal regions of the Horn of Africa, precisely the areas inhabited by these early Cushitic peoples. It is highly probable that the people the Egyptians called Puntites were the descendants of these very first Cushitic trading communities. They were the gatekeepers to the wealth of Africa. Imagine the scene: Egyptian ships arriving at a bustling port on the Red Sea coast, met by local Cushitic traders. They would have negotiated deals, their interactions bridging vast cultural and linguistic divides, all driven by the universal language of commerce. These encounters would have had a profound impact on both sides. The Cushitic peoples would have been exposed to the monumental culture of Egypt, while the Egyptians would have returned home with goods that defined the luxury and ritual of their society. So, as we look back before 3000 BC, we see a dynamic and sophisticated society taking root in the Horn of Africa. The early Cushitic peoples were not simple nomads wandering the desert. They were skilled pastoralists who understood their environment deeply. They were savvy traders who knew how to leverage their region's resources to build networks that spanned the ancient world. And they were cultural pioneers, creating unique traditions and social structures that would lay the groundwork for future kingdoms and civilizations in the Horn of Africa, including the later powerful kingdom of Aksum. Their legacy is written not in grand monuments of stone, but in the languages still spoken today, in the pastoral traditions that continue in the region, and in the ancient trade routes that first connected Africa to the wider world. They are a powerful reminder that history is not just about kings and empires, but also about the resilient communities who, through their ingenuity and adaptability, shaped the course of our shared human story. The story of the Cushitic peoples is a vital chapter in the history of Africa, and indeed, the world. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the ancient past. It's truly amazing to think about these early pioneers and the world they built. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into history.